My name is Sarah Mitchell, 26 years old, standing alone in the parking lot of SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California, clutching my job offer letter with trembling hands. The culmination of 6 years of aerospace engineering studies, countless internship rejections, and family doubt was finally in my grasp. If you're reading this, drop a comment telling me where you're from and what achievement your family initially dismissed, because this story is about proving everyone wrong, including yourself. I'm the middle child in a family of 3 daughters, and I've spent my entire life trying to prove my worth in a household where traditional feminine success was the only recognized achievement. My older sister, Amanda, 29, is a successful fashion designer in New York City. She graduated from Parsons School of Design and now runs her own boutique clothing line. Every family gathering starts with updates about Amanda's latest Fashion Week appearances, her celebrity clients, and the glamorous events she attends. Then there's my younger sister, Emma, 23, who followed the path my parents understood and approved of. She's an elementary school teacher, married to her college sweetheart, and just announced she's expecting their first child. Emma represents everything my parents valued: stability, traditional femininity, and a clear path to family life. My father, Robert Mitchell, 57, is an insurance agent who owns his own agency. He's a practical man who measures success in terms of stability, steady income, and conventional life choices. Throughout my childhood, he consistently expressed doubt about women in technical fields, often saying things like, "Engineering is such a difficult field for girls," or, "Are you sure you wouldn't be happier in teaching like your sister?" My mother, Linda, 54, worked as a bank teller until Emma was born, then became a stay-at-home mom. She's always been invested in her daughter's appearance, social lives, and relationships. She never understood my preference for math and science over shopping and socializing. "Sarah, honey," she would say, "you're such a pretty girl. Why do you want to spend your time with all those complicated machines?" Growing up in suburban Denver, Colorado, I was the odd one out from early childhood. While Amanda played dress-up and Emma helped Mom bake cookies, I was in the garage with my tools, taking apart old radios and trying to figure out how things worked. My parents tolerated this as a tomboy phase they assumed I would outgrow. I remember being 12 when I announced I wanted to be an aerospace engineer and work for NASA. My father's response was immediate skepticism. "Sweetheart, that's a very competitive field. Maybe you should think about something more realistic, like teaching math or science." My mother added, "Engineering programs are mostly boys, honey. Wouldn't you be more comfortable in a field with more women?" Their lack of confidence in my abilities stung, but it also fueled my determination. I excelled in math and science throughout high school, consistently earning the highest grades in advanced physics and calculus. I built robots for science fairs, won state-level mathematics competitions, and scored a perfect 800 on the SAT math section. Yet these achievements were consistently overshadowed by Amanda's acceptance to Parsons or Emma's homecoming queen crown. I remember one particularly painful evening when I was 16. I had just learned I'd been selected as one of 10 high school students nationwide for NASA's summer engineering program. I was bursting with excitement, ready to share the news at dinner. But before I could speak, Amanda announced she'd been offered an internship with a famous fashion designer in Milan. The table erupted with congratulations for Amanda. My parents spent the entire meal discussing the details of her opportunity, the prestige of working in fashion, and how proud they were of her achievement. When I finally found a moment to share my NASA news, my father said, "That's nice, sweetie," before immediately returning to Amanda's internship details. My mother's reaction was even more deflating. "That sounds very technical, Sarah. Are you sure you'll enjoy spending your summer around all those serious engineers? Wouldn't you rather do something more social?" The NASA program that summer changed my life. For 6 weeks, I worked alongside other young women who shared my passion for aerospace engineering. I met female NASA engineers who had worked on Mars missions, space station designs, and satellite technology. For the first time, I felt like I belonged somewhere. Dr. Jennifer Chen, a senior propulsion engineer at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, became my first real mentor. Sarah, she told me during the program, you have exceptional analytical skills and creative problem-solving abilities. Don't let anyone convince you that engineering isn't for women. Some of the most important breakthroughs in aerospace have come from female engineers. When I returned home and excitedly shared stories about rocket propulsion systems and orbital mechanics, my family's responses were polite but disengaged. Amanda would nod while scrolling through fashion magazines. Emma would smile and change the subject to her boyfriend. And my parents would ask questions like, but what kind of job security does that field offer? My senior year of high school, I applied to 12 universities with top-ranked aerospace engineering programs: MIT, Caltech, Stanford, University of Michigan, and others. The application process was intense and expensive, requiring portfolios of my engineering projects, essays about my career goals, and multiple recommendation letters. When my first acceptance letter arrived from the University of Colorado Boulder with a partial scholarship, my parents' response was lukewarm. Colorado is a good school, my father said. But are you sure about engineering? It's such a demanding field, especially for women. My mother was more direct. Honey, college is supposed to be some of the best years of your life. Engineering sounds so stressful and competitive. Wouldn't you rather study something that leaves time for a social life and dating? But the letter I was really waiting for came 3 weeks later. MIT had accepted me into their aerospace engineering program with nearly a full scholarship, covering tuition and providing a research stipend. MIT, one of the most prestigious technical universities in the world, had chosen me from thousands of applicants. When I called my family together to share the MIT news, their reaction was mixed at best. Emma was genuinely excited for me, giving me a huge hug and saying she was proud. Amanda seemed surprised that I'd been accepted somewhere so prestigious. My parents looked more concerned than celebratory. MIT is in Boston, my mother said immediately. That's so far from home, and it has such a reputation for being difficult. My father's concerns were more practical. Even with the scholarship, there will be other expenses. Are you sure this is worth the investment? Engineering programs have high dropout rates, especially for women. The subtext was clear. They didn't think I would succeed, and they were worried about the financial and emotional cost of my inevitable failure. Their lack of faith hurt deeply, but I was determined to prove them wrong. College at MIT was everything I had hoped for and more. The coursework was incredibly challenging, but I thrived in the environment of brilliant, driven students who shared my passion for solving complex technical problems. I specialized in propulsion systems and spacecraft design, maintaining a 3.8 GPA while working part-time in research labs. My professors quickly recognized my abilities. Dr. Michael Rodriguez, who taught advanced orbital mechanics, invited me to join his research team working on ion propulsion systems for deep space missions. By my sophomore year, I was co-authoring research papers and presenting at aerospace engineering conferences. When I called home to share these achievements, my family's responses followed predictable patterns. My parents would listen politely but rarely asked follow-up questions. Amanda would congratulate me before quickly changing the subject to her fashion work. Emma was the only one who seemed genuinely interested in hearing about my classes and research. The disconnect became even more apparent during family visits. When Amanda came home from New York, the family would gather to hear every detail about her fashion shows, celebrity clients, and glamorous lifestyle. When I came home from Boston, conversations about my research were brief and superficial before moving on to topics my parents found more relatable. During my junior year, something extraordinary happened. The research I'd been conducting on ion propulsion efficiency caught the attention of SpaceX's propulsion development team. They invited me to apply for their highly competitive summer internship program, which typically accepted only 10 students nationwide from all engineering disciplines. The application process was grueling. Technical interviews with senior engineers, presentations of my research findings, and problem-solving exercises involving real spacecraft design challenges. After weeks of interviews and waiting, I received the call I'd been dreaming of since high school. Sarah, this is Dr. Lisa Park from SpaceX's propulsion development team. We're delighted to offer you a position in our summer internship program. Your research on ion drive optimization was exactly the kind of innovative thinking we're looking for." I was so excited I could barely speak. SpaceX, Elon Musk's revolutionary space company that was changing how humanity approached space exploration, wanted me to work on their cutting-edge propulsion systems. When I called home to share the news, my mother answered first. "SpaceX? That's that billionaire's rocket company, right? Is that a real job or just an internship?" I explained that SpaceX internships were among the most prestigious opportunities in aerospace, that they led directly to full-time positions, and that their technology was revolutionizing space travel. My mother's response was typical. "That sounds very intense, honey. Will you have time to meet people and have a normal social life?" My father got on the phone and asked immediately about compensation and job security. When I explained that the internship paid well and often led to permanent positions with excellent salaries, he seemed more interested but remained skeptical about the long-term viability of space companies. Amanda's reaction when I spoke to her later was characteristic. "That's cool, Sarah. I don't really understand space stuff, but it sounds impressive. Did I tell you I just signed a contract to design costumes for a major Broadway production?" Emma was the only family member who seemed to grasp the significance of the opportunity. "Sarah, that's incredible. You're going to be working on actual spaceships. I'm so proud of you." The summer internship at SpaceX exceeded every expectation. I worked directly on propulsion systems for the Falcon Heavy rocket, contributing to calculations and tests that would affect real missions carrying payloads to orbit. My supervisors praised my work, and I was invited to present my findings to senior engineering teams. Dr. Park became another important mentor, recognizing my potential and encouraging me to think beyond traditional aerospace career paths. "Sarah, you have the technical skills and innovative mindset that companies like ours desperately need. The aerospace industry is changing rapidly, and we need engineers who can adapt and lead that change." Near the end of my internship, Dr. Park asked me to stay after a team meeting. "We'd like to offer you a full-time position starting after your graduation next year. The salary would be $95,000 annually with full benefits, stock options, and opportunities for rapid advancement." A full-time offer from SpaceX before my senior year. It was beyond anything I had dared to hope for. Most engineering students struggled to find good positions after graduation, and here I was with a guaranteed job at one of the most innovative companies in the world. When I called home with this news, the family's reaction was more enthusiastic than usual, primarily because they could understand the financial implications of a $95,000 starting salary. My father was impressed by the compensation package, and my mother seemed relieved that I would have a real job after graduation. But their excitement was still conditional and focused on the external markers of success rather than recognition of my technical achievements or passion for the field. They were proud of the salary and prestige, but didn't seem to understand or care about the actual work I would be doing. My senior year at MIT flew by in a blur of advanced coursework, thesis research, and preparation for my career at SpaceX. I was working on a senior thesis involving propulsion efficiency improvements for Mars missions, research that could contribute to humanity's eventual journey to other planets. My thesis advisor, Dr. Elizabeth Santos, was effusive in her praise for my work. "Sarah, this research represents graduate-level thinking and could easily be published in top aerospace journals. You're tackling problems that could influence the next generation of interplanetary missions." When graduation day arrived, my entire family flew to Boston for the ceremony. I had mixed feelings about their attendance. I was grateful they were coming, but apprehensive about their level of engagement with what the day represented. The MIT graduation ceremony was held at the Boston Convention Center, with thousands of families in attendance. As we processed in our caps and gowns, I felt a profound sense of accomplishment. I had not only survived one of the world's most challenging engineering programs, but had excelled, graduating summa cum laude with a thesis that my professors considered groundbreaking. When my name was called, Sarah Mitchell, Bachelor of Science in Aerospace Engineering, summa cum laude, I heard my family cheering from the audience. It was the most enthusiastic support they had ever shown for one of my academic achievements. After the ceremony, my parents seemed genuinely proud as we took photos. My father, who had spent years expressing doubt about my chosen field, said, "MIT aerospace engineering. That's really something, Sarah. I'm proud of you." My mother, while still focused on traditional concerns, acknowledged my achievement. "You look so professional in that cap and gown, honey. And that summa cum laude thing. That means you did really well, right?" Amanda and Emma were both genuinely excited, though their understanding of what I had accomplished was limited. "My sister, the rocket scientist!" Emma kept saying to anyone who would listen, but despite their attendance and congratulations, I still felt like they didn't fully grasp the magnitude of what graduating from MIT represented, or the years of struggle and dedication that had brought me to this point. 3 weeks after graduation, I reported to SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California, for my first day as a propulsion engineer. The facility was everything I had imagined, a cutting-edge aerospace development center where the future of space exploration was being designed and built. My first assignment was working on engine efficiency improvements for the Raptor engine, which would power SpaceX's Mars-bound Starship. I was part of a team of brilliant engineers, many with advanced degrees from top universities, all working toward the goal of making life multiplanetary. Dr. Park, now my direct supervisor, gave me challenging assignments from the beginning. "Sarah, your research on ion propulsion gives you a unique perspective on efficiency optimization. We want you to apply those insights to our methane-fueled engines." 6 months into my career at SpaceX, I made a breakthrough. While analyzing combustion chamber designs, I identified a modification that could improve fuel efficiency by 3.2%, a seemingly small improvement that would translate to significant cost savings and extended mission capabilities. My discovery caught the attention of senior leadership. Elon Musk himself attended the presentation where I explained my findings to the propulsion development team. After my presentation, he approached me directly. "Excellent work on the efficiency improvements," he said. "This kind of incremental but meaningful progress is exactly what will make Mars missions economically viable. Keep thinking this way." Receiving direct praise from Elon Musk for my technical contribution felt surreal. Here was one of the most innovative entrepreneurs of our time, recognizing my work as valuable to humanity's future in space. But when I called home to share this incredible experience, my family's reaction was typically mixed. My father was impressed that I had met Elon Musk, the celebrity entrepreneur, but didn't seem to understand the technical significance of my breakthrough. My mother's primary concern was whether meeting such a famous person meant I was networking properly for my career. Amanda was excited about the celebrity aspect, but couldn't relate to the engineering achievement itself. Emma, as always, was the most supportive. "Sarah, you met Elon Musk because your work was so good, he wanted to congratulate you personally. That's amazing." Despite their limited understanding, I could sense that my family was beginning to realize I had achieved something significant. The combination of working for a famous company, meeting a celebrity entrepreneur, and earning a substantial salary was creating a picture of success they could finally recognize. 1 year into my SpaceX career, I was promoted to senior propulsion engineer with a salary increase to $120,000 annually. The promotion came with leadership responsibilities. I now managed a team of 3 junior engineers and had decision-making authority over propulsion system modifications. More importantly, I was assigned to work on the Starship program, SpaceX's ambitious project to develop a reusable spacecraft capable of carrying humans to Mars. My team was responsible for optimizing the engine systems that would make interplanetary travel possible. When I called home to share the promotion news, my father's reaction showed how his perspective had evolved. "Senior engineer, after just 1 year? That's impressive, Sarah. They must really value your work." My mother, while still focused on traditional measures of success, was beginning to understand that my career was progressing exceptionally well. "A promotion so quickly, you must be doing something right. Are you making good friends at work?" The shift in their attitude was gradual but noticeable. Instead of questioning my career choice, they were beginning to brag about their daughter who worked for SpaceX. My achievements were finally registering as legitimate success in their understanding. But the real transformation in family dynamics came during my second year at SpaceX, when I received an opportunity that would change not just my career trajectory, but how my family saw me forever. NASA announced a new program, the Artemis mission, aimed at returning humans to the moon and eventually establishing a lunar base. They were seeking propulsion engineers from private companies to collaborate on the spacecraft systems that would make sustained lunar presence possible. Dr. Park recommended me for the program, which would involve a 2-year assignment working directly with NASA while maintaining my SpaceX position. Only 12 engineers from private companies were selected for this collaboration. "Sarah," Dr. Park explained, "this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You'd be working on propulsion systems for humanity's return to the moon. Your expertise in efficiency optimization makes you exactly what NASA needs for sustainable lunar operations." The selection process was intense. Technical evaluations, security clearances, presentations to NASA leadership, and interviews with astronauts who would potentially use the systems I would help design. 3 weeks later, I received a call from Dr. Margaret Williams, director of NASA's Propulsion Systems Division. "Sarah, we're delighted to offer you a position in the Artemis Propulsion Development Program. Your work at SpaceX, combined with your research background, makes you an ideal candidate for this crucial mission." I was going to work for NASA, the agency that had inspired my love of aerospace engineering since childhood, the organization that had put humans on the moon and sent robotic explorers throughout the solar system. I would be contributing directly to humanity's return to space exploration. When I called home with this news, the reaction was unlike anything I had experienced from my family before. My father answered the phone, and when I told him about the NASA position, there was a long pause before he spoke. "NASA? Sarah, that's incredible. You're going to be working for NASA on moon missions?" For the first time in my life, I heard genuine awe in my father's voice when he discussed my career. NASA was an institution he understood and respected, something he could easily explain to his friends and colleagues. My mother got on the phone, and her reaction was equally dramatic. "Oh my goodness, Sarah! NASA! Wait until I tell everyone at church my daughter is going to work for NASA." Amanda called me later that evening, and for the first time, she seemed to truly grasp the magnitude of my achievement. "Sarah, NASA is that's where the astronauts work, right? You're going to be working with astronauts? That's actually really cool." Emma's reaction was characteristically supportive, but now matched by the rest of the family's newfound enthusiasm. "I always knew you were brilliant, but this is beyond anything I imagined. You're going to help people go to the moon." The shift in my family's perception was profound and immediate. Suddenly, I wasn't the daughter with the impractical technical career. I was the daughter working for NASA on lunar missions. My achievements had finally translated into something they could understand, appreciate, and celebrate. The NASA assignment began 6 months later. I was based at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, working directly with astronauts, mission planners, and the engineers who would turn lunar exploration dreams into reality. My first project involved designing propulsion systems for lunar landers that could make multiple trips between lunar orbit and the moon's surface. Working at NASA was everything I had dreamed it would be. I collaborated with astronauts who had been to the International Space Station, engineers who had worked on the original Apollo program, and international partners from space agencies around the world. Every day brought new challenges and opportunities to contribute to humanity's expansion into space. Dr. Williams became another important mentor, recognizing both my technical abilities and my potential for leadership. "Sarah, you're not just solving propulsion problems. You're thinking systematically about how these systems fit into larger mission architectures. That's the kind of thinking NASA needs in its future leaders." 6 months into my NASA assignment, I was invited to present my lunar lander propulsion research to a congressional committee reviewing NASA's budget I would be explaining to United States senators and representatives how my work contributed to American leadership in space exploration. The presentation went exceptionally well. I explained how improved propulsion efficiency would reduce mission costs, extend exploration capabilities, and enhance crew safety. Several committee members asked detailed questions about my research, clearly impressed by both the technical content and its implications for national space policy. After the presentation, Senator Patricia Williams, no relation to Dr. Williams, approached me personally. Dr. Mitchell, your work represents exactly the kind of innovation America needs to maintain our leadership in space. Thank you for your service to our country. Being thanked by a United States Senator for my contribution to American space leadership felt surreal. Here was a moment of national recognition for work that had started with childhood curiosity about how things worked. When I called home to share this experience, my family's reaction was overwhelmingly enthusiastic. My father, who had spent years questioning whether engineering was appropriate for women, said, "A Senate hearing? Sarah, you presented your work to the United States Senate? I'm incredibly proud of you." My mother, who had worried about my social life and marriage prospects, seemed to suddenly realize that my career achievements were more significant than she had ever imagined. The Senate! Oh my goodness! Wait until I tell everyone. My daughter presented to the Senate! For the first time, I felt like my family truly understood that what I did for work mattered not just personally, but nationally and historically. They were finally seeing me as someone who contributed to important work, rather than someone pursuing an impractical technical hobby. The recognition extended beyond my family. Local newspapers in Denver ran stories about the hometown girl working on NASA's lunar missions. My high school invited me to speak to current students about STEM careers. The University of Colorado asked me to give a guest lecture about pathways from academia to aerospace industry careers. Each of these recognition opportunities reinforced to my family that my career was not just personally fulfilling, but publicly significant. They began to understand that engineering, far from being an impractical field for women, was a profession where I could make meaningful contributions to society and human knowledge. 1 year into my NASA assignment, I received news that would represent the ultimate validation of my career choices. Dr. Williams called me into her office with an expression I couldn't read. "Sarah, I have some news that I think will interest you. NASA is planning the first crewed mission to Mars, tentatively scheduled for 2032. We're beginning to assemble the engineering team that will design the propulsion systems for this historic mission." She paused, letting the significance of her words sink in. "We want you to lead the propulsion development team for the Mars mission. This would make you the youngest person ever to hold such a position on an interplanetary mission, and one of the few women to lead propulsion development for crewed spaceflight." I was speechless. Leading propulsion development for the first human mission to Mars. It was beyond my wildest childhood dreams when I had announced my desire to work for NASA. This was the opportunity to contribute directly to humanity's greatest adventure. "The position comes with significant responsibilities," Dr. Williams continued. "You'd be overseeing a team of 50 engineers, managing a budget of $500 million over 5 years, and working directly with astronauts who will depend on your systems for their lives." The magnitude of the opportunity was overwhelming, but I knew immediately that I wanted it. This was what I had been working toward my entire career, the chance to contribute to human exploration of Mars. "Dr. Williams," I said, my voice steady despite my racing heart, "I'm honored by your confidence in me, and I absolutely want this position." She smiled broadly. "I thought you might. Congratulations, Dr. Mitchell. You're now the lead propulsion engineer for humanity's journey to Mars." When I called home that evening to share this incredible news, the conversation was unlike any I had ever had with my family. My father answered the phone, and when I told him about the Mars mission leadership position, his response was immediate and emotional. "Sarah, I don't even know what to say. You're going to lead the team that gets humans to Mars? My daughter is going to help humanity reach another planet?" For the first time in my adult life, I heard my father cry on the phone. Years of skepticism about my career choices had been replaced by overwhelming pride and amazement at what I had achieved. My mother got on the phone, and her voice was thick with emotion. "Honey, I'm so sorry I ever questioned your dreams. I didn't understand what you were working toward. But now I see you weren't just pursuing a career, you were pursuing a calling." She paused, composing herself. "You're going to be part of sending people to Mars. That's history, Sarah. You're going to be part of human history." Amanda called me later that evening, and for the first time in our adult lives, our conversation was entirely focused on my achievements rather than hers. "Sarah, I've been thinking about this all day. What you're doing is so much more important than fashion or anything I've accomplished. You're literally helping humanity explore space." Emma's reaction was characteristically enthusiastic, but now matched by the recognition that I had achieved something historically significant. "I can't believe my sister is going to help send people to Mars. This is like something from a science fiction movie, except it's real, and you're making it happen." The full circle: recognition and reflection. Today, 3 years into leading Mars mission propulsion development, I reflect on the journey from being the misunderstood middle daughter to becoming someone my family celebrates and supports unconditionally. The work itself has been the most challenging and rewarding of my career. My team has designed propulsion systems capable of the 6-month journey to Mars, landing safely on the Martian surface, and returning to Earth. We've solved problems that have never been encountered before, creating technology that will enable humanity's greatest adventure. But perhaps more meaningful than the technical achievements has been the transformation in my family relationships. My parents, who once questioned whether engineering was appropriate for women, now actively promote STEM education for young girls in their community. They volunteer with programs that encourage female students to pursue technical careers. My father recently told me, "I spent years not understanding what you were working toward. But I see now that you weren't just choosing a career. You were choosing to be part of humanity's future. I'm proud of you, and I'm sorry it took me so long to realize how important your work is." My mother has become one of my strongest advocates, attending conferences where I present and reading aerospace industry publications to better understand my field. "I want to support what you do," she explained, "even if I can't do it myself." Amanda's perspective on success has evolved significantly. She started incorporating space themes into her fashion designs and has expressed interest in collaborating with aerospace companies on functional spaceware. "You showed me that some work is bigger than personal success," she said. "I want to find ways to contribute to important causes through my talents." Emma continues to be my most consistent supporter, and she's now encouraging her students to consider STEM careers. She brings NASA educational materials into her classroom and tells her students about her sister who builds spaceships. The family dynamics that once caused me pain have become sources of strength and inspiration. We've learned to celebrate each other's achievements, not just when they align with traditional expectations, but when they represent genuine contribution and fulfillment. Lessons learned and shared. As I look back on this journey from feeling invisible to becoming someone my family actively celebrates, I want to share several insights for anyone who recognizes their own experience in my story. First, your worth isn't determined by others' ability to understand or appreciate what you do. I spent years craving my family's recognition, but the most important validation came from my own assessment of my contributions and growth. Build your foundation of self-worth on your own values and achievements, not on others' approval. Second, pursue what gives your life meaning, even when people you love don't initially understand its value. My family's early skepticism about engineering careers for women could have derailed my dreams if I had let it. Sometimes the most important victories are the ones you achieve for yourself, even if you celebrate them alone initially. Third, don't compromise your authentic path to gain acceptance. The temporary comfort of family understanding isn't worth sacrificing your true calling. My family eventually learned to appreciate my choices, but that wouldn't have been possible if I had abandoned aerospace engineering for something they initially found more acceptable. Fourth, Remain open to reconciliation and growth while maintaining your boundaries. My parents' perspectives evolved dramatically, but this happened on their timeline after seeing concrete evidence of my success. Focus on your own growth while remaining open to others' growth without depending on it. Finally, remember that meaningful work often requires long-term vision and persistence. Aerospace engineering, like many technical fields, involves years of preparation and gradual progress before achieving major breakthroughs. The work that matters most often isn't immediately understood or appreciated by those outside the field. A message for young women in STEM. If you're a young woman considering a technical career despite family doubts or social pressure, I want you to know that your dreams are valid and achievable. The aerospace industry, like all of STEM, needs more women bringing diverse perspectives to complex problems. The challenges are real. You may encounter skepticism, feel isolated at times, or face questions about whether technical careers are compatible with traditional feminine roles. But the rewards of contributing to humanity's greatest challenges and discoveries far outweigh the difficulties. Find mentors who believe in your abilities. Seek out communities of women in your field. And remember that every breakthrough by a woman in STEM makes it easier for the next generation. You're not just pursuing a personal career, you're contributing to expanding opportunities for all women. The ripple effects of recognition. The transformation in my family's understanding has had ripple effects that extend far beyond our immediate relationships. My parents have become advocates for STEM education in their community, particularly for young women. My father now serves on the board of the local science museum and has helped establish a scholarship fund for girls pursuing engineering degrees. I learned from my mistakes with Sarah, he told a group of parents at a recent STEM education event. We need to support our daughters' dreams in technical fields, not discourage them, because we don't understand the paths they're choosing. My mother has joined a mentorship program that pairs professional women with high school girls interested in science and technology careers. She regularly attends my presentations and has become surprisingly knowledgeable about aerospace engineering concepts. I want to make sure other parents don't make the mistakes we made, she explained to me recently. Young women need to know that technical careers are not only possible, but incredibly valuable to society. Their advocacy work has created opportunities for me to give back to the community. I now regularly speak at local high schools about aerospace engineering careers, and I've been amazed by the number of young women who approach me afterward to ask about pathways into STEM fields. During one particularly memorable school visit, a 16-year-old girl named Maria approached me after my presentation. My parents think I should be a teacher or a nurse, she said quietly. But I love physics, and I want to build rockets like you do. How do I convince them? I saw myself in her uncertainty and determination. Maria, your dreams are valid whether your parents understand them right now or not, I told her. Focus on excelling in your math and science courses. Apply to engineering programs, and prove through your achievements that this path is right for you. Sometimes families need to see concrete results before they can understand and support non-traditional choices. I gave her my contact information and stayed in touch as she navigated her junior and senior years. Maria is now a freshman at Colorado State University studying aerospace engineering, and my parents have helped her family understand the value and opportunities in technical fields. The deepening professional journey. As my Mars mission leadership role has evolved, the technical challenges have become increasingly complex and fascinating. Leading a team of 50 engineers from diverse backgrounds, former NASA veterans, brilliant young graduates from top universities, and experienced professionals from aerospace companies worldwide, requires not just technical expertise, but diplomatic and leadership skills I never thought I'd need. The propulsion systems we're designing must function flawlessly across environments ranging from Earth's dense atmosphere to the near vacuum of space to Mars's thin atmospheric conditions. Every component must be redundant and reliable, because unlike previous robotic missions, crew safety depends on our systems working perfectly. Dr. Williams has become not just a supervisor, but a true mentor in leadership. Sarah, technical brilliance got you here. She told me during a particularly challenging week when we were troubleshooting engine combustion instability issues. But inspiring and coordinating brilliant people to solve problems they've never encountered before, that's what will get humanity to Mars. The international collaboration aspect of the mission has been especially rewarding. I work regularly with propulsion engineers from the European Space Agency, the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, and SpaceX to ensure our systems integrate seamlessly with other mission components. These collaborations have taught me that engineering excellence transcends national boundaries, and that humanity's greatest achievements come from combining the best minds, regardless of their origins. One particularly memorable breakthrough came during a joint design review with our European colleagues. We had been struggling with a fuel efficiency problem that was limiting our landing capability on Mars. Dr. Klaus Weber from ESA suggested an innovative approach to engine throttling that none of us had considered. What if we use variable geometry in the combustion chamber? He proposed during a video conference that stretched past midnight for both our teams. It would add complexity, but could improve efficiency by 12%. The idea was brilliant, but would require months of additional design work and testing. After extensive analysis and simulation, we implemented Klaus's suggestion, and it became one of the key innovations that made our Mars landing system viable. When I shared this story with my family during our monthly dinner, their response showed how completely their perspective had evolved. Instead of asking about job security or wondering why the work was so complicated, they asked thoughtful questions about international cooperation and the technical challenges of landing on Mars. So you're working with engineers from all over the world to solve problems that have never been solved before? My father asked, genuine fascination in his voice. That must be incredibly exciting and challenging. My mother added, it sounds like you're not just building rockets, you're part of an international team working on one of humanity's greatest adventures. The personal costs and rewards of leadership. Leading such a high-stakes project has required personal sacrifices that my family has gradually learned to understand and support. The work demands 60 to 70-hour weeks, frequent travel for testing and collaboration, and constant availability for crisis management when technical problems arise. My dating life has been essentially non-existent, something that once would have prompted concerned conversations from my parents about finding a husband and starting a family. Now, they seem to understand that I'm in a unique phase of my career where the work demands total commitment. Sarah, are you happy? My mother asked me during a recent visit home. I know the work is important, but I want to make sure you're fulfilled personally too. Her question showed remarkable growth in understanding that fulfillment can come in many forms, and that my current focus on professional achievement doesn't mean I'm neglecting other aspects of life, just prioritizing them differently. I am happy, Mom, I told her honestly. This work is exactly what I always dreamed of doing. The personal relationships will come when the timing is right, but right now, I'm exactly where I want to be. The physical demands of the work have also been significant. Space work requires extensive travel to testing facilities, long hours in sterile laboratory environments, and the stress of knowing that mistakes could literally cost lives. I've had to develop better habits around exercise, nutrition, and stress management to maintain peak performance. My siblings have been surprisingly supportive of these lifestyle demands. Amanda, who once couldn't understand why I'd choose such a demanding career, now regularly checks in on my well-being and sends care packages during particularly intense work periods. I used to think you were crazy for choosing such a difficult path, Amanda told me during a recent phone call. Now I realize you're doing something most people could never do, and you're doing it better than anyone expected. I'm proud of you for sticking with it even when it's hard. Kevin has started incorporating aerospace themes into her educational work, using my mission as a teaching tool for her elementary students. When kids say something is impossible, she told me, I tell them about my sister who's helping send people to Mars. It shows them that impossible things become possible when smart people work really hard. The technical triumphs and setbacks. The Mars propulsion development process has been filled with both breakthrough moments and crushing setbacks that have tested our team's resilience and creativity. One of our most significant challenges came 18 months into the project when initial engine tests revealed combustion instability that could catastrophically damage the spacecraft. The problem manifested during high-thrust testing at our facility in Nevada. What should have been a routine propellant flow test turned into an emergency shutdown when vibrations exceeded safe parameters. If this instability occurred during actual Mars operations, it could destroy the engine and strand the crew. "We're back to the drawing board," I told my team during an emergency meeting the day after the failed test. But this is exactly why we test extensively before human lives depend on our systems. The next 4 months were the most challenging of my career. My team worked around the clock, running computer simulations, redesigning combustion chamber geometry, and testing new approaches to fuel injection. We consulted with propulsion experts from around the world, including some who had worked on the original Apollo program. Dr. Maria Gonzalez, a legendary propulsion engineer who had worked on the space shuttle engines, flew in from California to consult on our combustion stability problems. At 78 years old, she brought decades of experience solving exactly these kinds of issues. "I've seen this problem before," she told our team during her first day reviewing our data. "The solution isn't obvious, but it's solvable. You need to think about the combustion process differently, not just as chemistry, but as fluid dynamics in an extreme environment." Her insight led us to a redesign that incorporated micronozzles in the combustion chamber to control pressure oscillations. After 3 more months of testing, our engines achieved stable combustion across all operating conditions. When I called home to share news of this breakthrough, my family's response demonstrated their complete transformation in understanding my work. "So you spent 4 months solving a problem that could have killed astronauts?" my father asked. "That must have been incredibly stressful, but also important work." My mother added, "I can't imagine the pressure you were under, knowing that people's lives depended on getting it right. You must be so relieved that you found a solution." Their responses showed they now understood both the technical complexity of my work and its human significance. They were supporting me not just because of external recognition, but because they genuinely understood the value of what I was doing. The international recognition and media attention. As the Mars mission has progressed from concept to detailed design to testing, media attention has intensified significantly. What started as technical presentations at engineering conferences has evolved into congressional hearings, international press conferences, and documentary filming. The attention reached a new level when National Geographic decided to produce a documentary series about the Mars mission development. They wanted to follow key team members through the final 2 years before launch, and I was selected as one of the primary subjects. "Dr. Mitchell, you represent a new generation of space exploration leaders," the documentary director explained during our first filming session. "Your story, from childhood dreams of working for NASA to leading humanity's return to interplanetary exploration, embodies what this mission represents." The filming process was initially uncomfortable. Having cameras present during technical meetings and personal moments felt intrusive, but I gradually realized this was an opportunity to inspire the next generation of young women to pursue STEM careers. One particularly meaningful filming session took place at my high school, where I returned to speak with current students about aerospace engineering. The documentary crew captured my conversation with a group of girls who reminded me powerfully of myself at their age. "How do you deal with being one of the only women in your field?" asked a 17-year-old named Jessica, who was clearly brilliant but uncertain about pursuing engineering. "It can be isolating sometimes," I told her honestly, "but it's also incredibly rewarding to be part of advancing human knowledge and capability. The field needs more women bringing different perspectives to complex problems. Your ideas and approaches could be exactly what aerospace engineering needs." The documentary, titled Red Planet Pioneers, aired on National Geographic 6 months later and was viewed by over 12 million people worldwide. The response was overwhelming, particularly from young women expressing interest in STEM careers. My parents hosted a viewing party for the documentary premiere, inviting neighbors, family friends, and members of their church community. Watching them beam with pride as they introduced me to people was a moment I'll never forget. "This is our daughter, Sarah," my mother said to their pastor during the viewing party. "She's leading the team that's going to send people to Mars. We're so proud of what she's accomplished." My father added, "We didn't always understand what Sarah was working toward, but now we see she wasn't just pursuing a career, she was pursuing a calling that could change human history." The final preparations and countdown. As I write this, we are now 18 months away from the scheduled Mars mission launch. The propulsion systems my team has designed have passed every test, from laboratory simulations to full-scale engine firings that replicate the conditions they'll encounter during the actual mission. The pressure is immense, but exhilarating. Every system check, every component inspection, every software update could be the difference between mission success and catastrophic failure. The 4 astronauts who will depend on our propulsion systems, Commander Jennifer Walsh, Pilot Michael Chen, Mission Specialist David Rodriguez, and Science Officer Amanda Kim, have become not just colleagues but friends whose lives I feel personally responsible for protecting. Sarah, I want you to know that every astronaut who flies on this mission trusts you completely, Commander Walsh told me during a recent mission review. Your team has built systems that we have absolute confidence in. That trust is what allows us to focus on the scientific and exploration aspects of the mission. The technical specifications of our final propulsion design represent breakthrough achievements in multiple areas. Our main engines achieve 98.7% theoretical combustion efficiency. Our landing systems can operate reliably in Mars's challenging atmospheric conditions, and our return vehicle propulsion can generate the precise thrust needed for the complex trajectory back to Earth. But beyond the technical achievements, this mission represents something profoundly meaningful about human capability and determination. We've solved problems that didn't exist a decade ago, created technologies that will enable sustained human presence on Mars, and demonstrated that international cooperation can achieve goals that no single nation could accomplish alone. Family legacy and future generations. The most unexpected and rewarding aspect of this journey has been watching how my career has influenced my family's approach to supporting the next generation. Amanda and Emma both have young children now, and they're raising them with a completely different understanding of what's possible for young women. Amanda's daughter, Sophie, is now 8 years old and already shows remarkable aptitude for mathematics and spatial reasoning. Instead of steering her toward traditionally feminine activities, Amanda encourages Sophie's interest in building projects and scientific experiments. Aunt Sarah builds spaceships that go to Mars, Amanda tells Sophie when she shows interest in how things work. Maybe you'll build spaceships that go even further someday. Emma's son, Michael, is 6 and is fascinated by rockets and space exploration. Emma has used my career as a teaching tool to show him that important work requires dedication, education, and perseverance. Your Aunt Sarah studied really hard in school and never gave up on her dreams, Emma explains to Michael when he gets frustrated with challenging homework. That's how she became someone who helps people explore other planets. My parents have become the kind of grandparents I wish they had been as parents, endlessly supportive of their grandchildren's interests and dreams, regardless of whether those dreams align with traditional expectations. We learned from our mistakes with Sarah, my father told Amanda recently. These children should know that any career path they choose will have our complete support, as long as they're passionate about it and willing to work hard. The broader impact on women in STEM. The visibility that has come with leading the Mars mission has created opportunities to advocate for women in STEM fields at a national level. I now serve on the board of the National Science Foundation's Committee on Women in STEM and regularly speak at conferences about creating more inclusive technical environments. The statistics remain sobering. Women represent only 28% of STEM workers overall, And that percentage drops dramatically in fields like aerospace engineering and advanced propulsion research. But I've seen encouraging changes during my career, particularly in the number of young women entering engineering programs. When I started my undergraduate program at MIT, I was one of only 12 women in a class of 120 aerospace engineering students. I told a recent gathering of high school guidance counselors. Now that same program is nearly 40% women. Change is happening, but we need to accelerate it. The key, I've learned, is providing visible role models and demonstrating that technical careers offer not just financial success, but the opportunity to work on humanity's most important challenges. Every young woman who sees my work and thinks, I could do that too, represents progress toward a more inclusive STEM environment. My parents have become unlikely but effective advocates in this effort. My father now regularly speaks to parent groups about supporting daughters who show interest in technical fields, sharing his own journey from skepticism to pride. I spent years trying to steer Sarah away from engineering because I didn't understand it, he tells these groups. I thought I was protecting her from disappointment. Instead, I was nearly preventing her from pursuing work that has become not just personally fulfilling, but historically significant. Personal reflections and philosophical insights. As the Mars mission approaches and I reflect on the journey that brought me to this point, I'm struck by how fundamentally my understanding of success and fulfillment has evolved. What started as a desire for family recognition has become something much deeper. A sense of contributing to humanity's greatest adventures and expanding our species' capabilities. The work itself has taught me that the most meaningful achievements often require accepting uncertainty, embracing failure as a learning opportunity, and maintaining faith in long-term visions even when immediate results are unclear. Every technical challenge my team has overcome has reinforced that persistence and creativity can solve seemingly impossible problems. But perhaps more importantly, this journey has taught me about the power of authentic relationships and the importance of remaining open to growth and reconciliation. My family's transformation from skeptics to supporters didn't happen because I changed who I was to please them. It happened because I remained true to my values while they learned to expand their definition of success and contribution. You know what I've learned from watching your career? My mother told me during our most recent family dinner. I learned that the most important thing isn't whether we initially understand our children's dreams. It's whether we're willing to grow and learn to support them. This insight has implications far beyond our family dynamics. In a world where technological advancement and social change happen at unprecedented pace, our ability to remain open to new ideas and different paths becomes crucial for both personal relationships and societal progress. Looking forward, the launch and beyond. The Mars mission I'm leading is scheduled to launch in exactly 14 months. The propulsion systems my team has designed will carry the first humans to another planet in over 50 years, beginning what we hope will be sustained human presence throughout the solar system. Every day brings new challenges and refinements, but also growing confidence that we've created systems capable of safely transporting crew to Mars and back. The technical problems that once seemed insurmountable have been solved through teamwork, persistence, and innovative thinking. More broadly, this mission represents a new era of human space exploration, characterized by international cooperation, commercial partnerships, and technological capabilities our predecessors could only dream of. The propulsion systems we've developed will be used not just for this first crewed Mars mission, but for the cargo ships, habitat modules, and scientific equipment that will establish humanity's first permanent settlement on another planet. But I'm equally excited about the personal journey that continues to unfold. My relationship with my family has become a source of strength rather than stress. They've learned to see success in terms of contribution rather than just conventional achievement, and I've learned to value my work for its intrinsic meaning rather than for external validation. The young woman who once felt invisible in her own family has become a leader, contributing to humanity's greatest adventure. The family that once questioned whether engineering was appropriate for women now serves as my strongest support system and greatest source of pride. Final thoughts for anyone who resonates. To anyone reading this who feels unseen or unappreciated for pursuing non-traditional paths. Your work matters. Your dreams are valid, and the recognition will come. Stay true to your calling, remain open to growth and reconciliation, and remember that the most meaningful success often takes time to be understood. The path I chose wasn't easy, and there were many moments when I questioned whether the struggle was worth it. Family relationships strained by misunderstanding, achievements celebrated alone, years of feeling like I had to prove my worth through external validation. All of these challenges were real and painful. But the rewards have been extraordinary, extending far beyond professional success. I've had the privilege of contributing to humanity's expansion into space, of solving problems that will benefit future generations, and of inspiring young women to pursue their own dreams in technical fields. Perhaps most importantly, I've learned that authentic success isn't about gaining others' approval. It's about remaining true to your values and calling while staying open to growth and connection. My family's eventual understanding and support means everything to me. But it means more because it was earned through persistence and authenticity rather than granted through compromise or conformity. Your worth was never in question. It was only waiting to be recognized, first by you and eventually by everyone else who matters. Keep reaching for the stars. Literally, in my case, and perhaps in yours too. The countdown to Mars has begun, and I couldn't be more excited about what lies ahead.